Somebody in Silicon Valley is having a very bad Monday morning. Their coffee is cold, their Slack is on fire, and somewhere in a glass-walled conference room, a very expensive lawyer is being called into a very uncomfortable meeting. That somebody is Sam Altman. Because last week, the company that was supposed to be Google's biggest threat just became Google's biggest problem. Here's what happened. For 2 years, OpenAI played the role of the scrappy underdog, the rebel startup that moved fast, broke things, and somehow convinced the entire world that a San Francisco nonprofit, yes, a nonprofit, was going to build artificial general intelligence before one of the most powerful technology companies in human history. And the world believed it. Developers believed it. Investors believed it. Governments believed it. Your company probably believed it, and maybe even built its entire AI strategy around it. But here's the thing about underdogs. They only stay underdogs until the giant wakes up. And last week, after 2 years of watching, waiting, and quietly building something that nobody saw coming, Google didn't just wake up. Google showed up at the door with a sledgehammer, a blueprint, and a tool called Antigravity. And nothing in the AI world will look the same after this. Stay with me, because what I'm about to show you in the next 8 minutes will completely change how you think about AI, about Google, and about who is actually winning the most important technology race of our lifetime. What is anti-gravity? Let's start with the basics, because the name alone deserves an explanation. Google just upgraded Google AI Studio with something they're calling Antigravity, a full-stack AI coding agent embedded directly into their development environment. Now, full stack is one of those tech words that sounds impressive at dinner parties, but means little to most people. So let me translate. A full-stack app is like a house. You need the foundation, that's your database. You need the walls, that's your back-end logic. And you need the roof and the windows. That's the interface people actually see and touch. Before anti-gravity, AI tools could maybe sketch the windows, maybe suggest a door. But the foundation, the plumbing, the electrical, you were on your own, pal. Anti-gravity builds the whole house. You describe what you want in plain English, and it generates a complete, working, production-ready application. Not a prototype, not a demo, a real app. Google demonstrated this live. A developer typed a description of a 3D multiplayer claw machine game. Anti-gravity didn't just write code. It connected the back end, set up real-time multiplayer infrastructure, integrated Firebase for authentication and database management, and deployed it in the time it takes you to make a cup of coffee. And here's the kicker. It remembers. Across sessions, across devices. You can close your laptop, go to sleep, wake up the next morning, and anti-gravity picks up exactly where you left off, like a contractor who actually shows up on time. This is where things get uncomfortable for OpenAI. OpenAI dominates AI coding assistants. GitHub Copilot has over 1.8 million paid users. ChatGPT's coding tools are used daily by millions. Their agents are genuinely impressive. But the problem isn't intelligence, it's structure. OpenAI builds incredible engines, but they don't own the garage. They don't own the road. They don't own the gas station. Google does. Google owns Firebase for infrastructure, Google Cloud for deployment, Chrome for the browser, Android for mobile, Workspace for productivity, and now AI Studio with anti-gravity sitting at the center of it all. When anti-gravity builds your app, authentication is already wired, databases are already connected, hosting is already handled, real-time sync is already there. OpenAI has to stitch those pieces together through partners. Google just has them. That's vertical integration. And historically, in every major technology shift, the company that owns the entire stack wins. In the early days of cars, many companies built great engines. Henry Ford won because he built the factory, the supply chain, the distribution, and eventually the roads. That's the game Google is playing now. And they've been setting the board for 20 years.
Let's continue with the Apple angle and why it matters more than you think. But wait, it gets more interesting. Because while everyone was focused on anti-gravity, Google quietly dropped another bomb. They're testing a native Gemini app for Mac. Now, you might be thinking, so what? There are 100 AI apps for Mac. And you'd be right. But here's what makes this different. A browser tab is a tourist. A native app is a resident. A native Mac OS app gets access to your system notifications, your files, your calendar, your camera, your microphone, all with proper permissions and deep OS integration. It runs faster, it feels smoother, and it can do things a browser tab simply cannot. Bloomberg reported that Google is testing Gemini's ability to integrate with Apple's core apps, Calendar, Photos, potentially even Siri and Apple Intelligence. Think about that for a second. The world's most popular AI assistant, potentially powered by Google's most advanced model, living natively on the world's most popular laptop. OpenAI has a ChatGPT Mac app. It's good, but it doesn't have the same depth of relationship with Apple that Google has been quietly building for years. Remember, Google pays Apple approximately $20 billion per year to be the default search engine on Safari. That's not a business deal, that's a marriage. And in a marriage, you get access to things that strangers simply don't. Colab MCP, the quiet revolution. And if anti-gravity and the Mac app weren't enough, Google also dropped a third update that flew completely under the radar. They launched a Model Context Protocol server for Google Colab. Okay, I know, that sentence sounds like it was written by a robot having a bad day. Let me explain it like a human. Before this update, if you were using an AI agent to help you with data science or Python code, the workflow looked like a game of telephone. You'd write code, run it, copy the output, paste it into the AI, get a response, copy that back, run it again. It was the digital equivalent of faxing documents back and forth in 2025. Technically possible, deeply painful. The new Colab MCP server means AI agents can now directly access, write, execute, and iterate on code inside Google Colab without you playing middleman. The agent runs locally on your machine. The heavy computation happens in the cloud. You just watch it work. It's like hiring a contractor who not only knows how to build, but also has the keys to the warehouse, the tools, and the truck. You just tell them what you want built. The bigger picture. What does this mean for you? Let's zoom out for a second, because this isn't just about developers and code. This is about who controls the AI layer of the internet, and by extension, who controls the tools that run your business, your workflow, your creative projects, and eventually your daily life. For the past 2 years, OpenAI has been the default answer to the question, which AI should I use? But defaults change. They always do. Remember when Internet Explorer was the default browser? When MySpace was the default social network? When BlackBerry was the default smartphone? Defaults feel permanent until they don't. And the moment they shift fast. Internet Explorer went from 95% market share to irrelevant in less than a decade. BlackBerry went from every serious professional owns one to what's a BlackBerry in about 5 years. Google's strategy with anti-gravity, Gemini on Mac, and Colab MCP isn't random. It's a coordinated, systematic effort to become the default AI infrastructure for developers, businesses, and consumers, all at the same time. And the scary part for OpenAI, Google doesn't need to win every battle. They just need to make switching easier than staying. Right now, that bridge is looking very, very attractive. So here's where we stand. Google just dropped 3 major AI updates in a single week,
Antigravity rewrites what's possible in app development. Gemini on Mac plants a flag in Apple's territory, and Colab MCP quietly eliminates one of the most frustrating bottlenecks in AI-assisted coding. OpenAI isn't dead, not even close, but for the first time in a long time, they're playing defense. And in the AI race, defense is a very uncomfortable place to be. The Grandmaster has made his move. The question now is, does OpenAI even see it coming? If you found this useful, and let's be honest, you now know more about the AI landscape than 95% of people on the internet, hit that subscribe button because this race is just getting started and you're going to want a front row seat.